Hi guys, Mr. Derek Paul invited me to do a little section on his channel about my favourite riff, which could have meant, I don't know, it could have meant like a famous riff, or it could have meant your favourite chop or whatever it is. So I decided to show a slide thing, and I'm going to put the video just after this little section here. It was basically something that's ended up developing into a much bigger concept, and I realised that might be quite a good topic for a video. How to develop a line from something that's kind of a small beginning. I'm going to show you this thing not because it's a really fancy chop, but just because I remember the lineage. I remember how I got to that conclusion in the first place. I thought I'd go about this one in a slightly different way. So rather than pick some kind of arbitrary famous riff and state a reason why that's my favourite one, I thought I would show you something that's actually left sort of an indelible mark on my playing, and then sort of classify that as a riff, even though it kind of isn't. Anyway, it's this thing, which seems fairly innocuous, doesn't sound like much is going on here. I saw Sonny Landreth do this probably when YouTube first started becoming a thing. And at that time I was already doing this kind of seesawing lick. And it was only a matter of time before I sort of started incorporating this fretted note behind the slide. And it's opened up so many more pathways and has basically become something that's intrinsically linked to the way that I approach slide guitar. So once I'd done it in that position there, which is playing in the key of D, you've got this major chord, and then you can press the dominant 7. Well, I realized I could do it minor, create kind of an 11 sound, and you could basically do it any way you want. Which is what I was doing in the intro jam. I was basically just trying to do the same trick. Obviously I wouldn't use it this much, I'm just doing it for demonstration purposes. But I thought it was just interesting to note that you could take such what seems like an inconsequential thing and develop it so that it becomes a part of your entire approach to the instrument. So that's what I'm going to classify as my favourite riff, even though it isn't one. Anyway, so this chop, or line concept, whatever you want to call it, this started off as a thing I saw Scott Henderson teaching. It was a video that I think maybe was it Jude something, MIT guy had posted up, and it was him explaining this thing where you basically go up a fifth. So I'm in the key of A, so you start on the A, you go up a fifth, up another fifth, and then you go up a semitone, up a fifth, and then up another fifth. So you end up with that. And you can go up a whole tone instead, and it would be more majory than minory. But I basically took the top section of it, which is all just stacked fifths. I'm not going to bother explaining where I'm putting my fingers here. That's not the point in this. I'm not going to try and walk you through it step by step of place your first finger on the 5th fret or any of that kind of stuff. This is I'm just showing you my thought process so that you might apply it to your own chops, your own ideas. So anyway, I took this kind of this shape and realized that certainly the fifths on the top two strings fit quite neatly inside the pentatonic at various points, and so you could just kind of plonk the shape down in various places, and then I came up with like a picking pattern where I could just slide it around like that, And you could... which sounds kind of cool. And then the next stage, I thought I could extend this by adding one scale degree higher on the top string. So you'd have... which is kind of cool. But this shape right here, well, you've got a flat 6 in here, which didn't work for me in sort of every instance. So I started changing the shape of it, the shape of this basic thing that I had, to fit the scale. So what I'm doing here, and this is the main thing I want you to take away from this, is that if you can imagine the scale running on 3 simultaneous strings, so on the top string you'd have like that, and on the B string, and I'm basically playing on the D string here, I'm missing out the G with all of these shapes, and you carrying up the D string. Well, if you take like a minor 9 chord, for instance, and shift this through the scale, which is one of the things I did with that little thing earlier on there. Basically, you take the minor 9. This top note here, where the pinky is going to go up 1 semitone. So it's going to go from here to here. And this note here that's on your first finger on the B string is going to go up 1 semitone to here. So that is going to actually just shift this shape 1 semitone. But this note right here, the flat 7 that you're playing with your first finger, that's going to go a whole tone. That's going to have to go to here. So what ends up happening is the shape changes. You can see the shape's changing here, right? Now if we were to move that up again, the shape would remain the same because all of those notes are going to move a whole tone. And if we go up again another scale degree, this note here is going to go up a whole tone, this one's going to go up a whole tone again, so those two are going to go like that. But this one, on the D string, is only going to go up 1 semitone. So again, the shape has changed and it's gone back to where it was originally. And you're going to find when you move any kind of shape through the scales that you'll have 2 shapes that kind of repeat fairly sort of sequentially, and then one shape that's going to come up 1 time. And that tends to happen for most things if you shift them around, just because of the intervals of a scale. So basically what I started doing was, instead of just holding a 5th shape, I started using these other shapes and then adding the semitone above on the high E string. Then I started transferring this concept to the lower strings, so that I had this kind of thing. And again, I'm not going to walk you through all this step by step, because the point isn't that you walk away with my line. The point is that you walk away being able to apply some of this stuff to your own lines and create more ideas for yourself. So anyway, I've got these things on the lower strings right here. So now I could start doing this. But it wasn't quite complete. I needed one extra note on the low strings. And I started going, well, I can't reach the semitone above, the scale degree above rather, on the B string. So why don't I play it on the string above and let it ring out, so you get like a second interval. It's a really, really cool sound, and I've actually got quite a bit of mileage out of just this concept. And then you could combine. I always find when I'm trying to be really careful for a teaching thing that I end up making some sort of ass hand moves here. If I'm not thinking about it, much cleaner. Weird. Anyway, I hope you dug that. I hope you found it useful in some kind of way. I'm not trying to say I'm sort of like a music professor or something here. I've had no formal music tuition. I've never had a lesson in my life. I'm just trying to pass on some things that I've kind of found useful for, just developing lines and trying to find your own style. These things don't have to just be chordal. I always give this kind of example just because it's kind of easy to see. But this is just simple lead notes that I'm now just, doing the same thing, moving through the scale. And it could be anything. It could be the more complicated you make it, all this kind of stuff. I'm just taking the same line, moving it through the scale. When you do it like where's the next one going to be? And so on and so forth. The more complicated you make the line, the more difficult it is to take through the scale degree. I missed that one right there then. But yeah, try it on your own lines, and this is I've not even added chromaticism into the equation, which things start getting really dicey when you do that. Okay, see you next time. Later.